Thanks to Ruby Rose at last year's Logies Awards, grey is officially in fashion. And I'm pleased to say that I've been going grey for the last few years. And so is my garden. Reusing grey water in the garden is a fantastic way of saving precious drinking water. And assuming you have a level of personal hygiene like mine and you wash your clothes and yourself on a semi-regular basis, grey water will be available for your garden all year round. Australian households expel around 120,000 litres of grey water annually, which is more than enough to sustain the average garden in that time. In this episode, I'm going to give you 10 tips for safely using recycled water on your garden. Let's get this straight. Grey water is not the water that comes from the toilet or the kitchen. This is classified as black water, and your garden will be totally unimpressed if you start splashing this stuff around. Potentially, black water is full of bacteria, fats and solids, which is no good for your soil or your plants. Oh, and if you're washing nappies, don't put this grey water on your garden for obvious reasons. Number 2, limit the amount of chemicals and toxins you use inside the house if you're going to use your grey water outside. Look, there's still a lot of research to be done into the long-term effects of grey water and soil and plant health, but it's safe to say the less chemicals, the better. When you go shopping for household detergents, shampoos and those sorts of products, look for products that have low phosphorus, low sodium, low boron, low fats and low enzymes. If I know I'm going to be dyeing my mohawk, washing off high chemical sunscreen or bleaching my washing, I won't use that load of grey water in the garden. Look, it's simple. If the product is designed to kill bugs inside the house, it's going to do the same thing to the beneficial bugs in your soil and garden. Number 3, test the pH of your soil and your grey water before you start using it. I'm not being a drama queen when I say that knowing the pH of both of these things could literally make or break your garden. Grey water does have a tendency to be a bit alkaline, and a lot of plants in your garden won't tolerate this, including things like citrus, natives and a lot of exotics. When you're shopping for detergents, try and find one that's got a neutral pH. And if you find your grey water still a little bit alkaline, add a bit of white vinegar to it before adding it to the garden. Number 4, while you're in pre-production mode, make sure you test the moisture levels of your soil. The biggest problem I see with grey water use is people overusing it, putting on the grey water just because it's there, and this will cause your garden way more harm than good. It's also a really good idea to check the soil after you've watered, just to make sure that the grey water is being absorbed and it's not waterlogged. The best way to disperse your grey water is always subsurface, meaning on top of the soil but under mulch. This will actually help the grey water be a little bit more filtered, removing a lot more bacteria and solids that may be present. Number 5. Look, there are some plants you just shouldn't irrigate with grey water. These include things like really young plants, pot plants, veggies and herbs. Think about it like this. If you wouldn't drink the grey water, don't whack it on a plant that you're going to eat. Oh, and remember, your garden's not a fan of hot beverages, so make sure the water's cool before you pop it on. Number 6. When you're using your laundry water on the garden, remember to filter out the solids. If Linton fat is allowed to get into the soil, it can actually act to clog up the soil pores, which will virtually destroy your garden. The way I do that is run my laundry water through a cloth bag before I apply it to the garden. Number 7, limit the use of grey water to flat areas. Avoid using it on slopes because it may run into your neighbour's yard. And look, nothing causes a neighbourhood dispute like your grey water in somebody else's yard. When you're using grey water, make sure you don't overdo it. Don't allow it to pool either in your yard or theirs. Number 8. Some people like to store their grey water in clean, green wheelie bins. Look, this is okay as a temporary measure, but make sure it's not there for any longer than 24 hours. A, it'll stink, and B, it's hazardous and against EPA regulations. If you do choose to store your greywater this way, make sure you keep your kids and pets away from it. It's just no good for them. Number 9. All soils that are treated with greywater need to have a break and need a bit of fresh water through them. So my suggestion here is to turn your greywater off over autumn and winter when it's not needed, and turn it back on over spring and summer. Number 10. My last tip here is an OHS one. You'd be surprised how many people hurt their back from lifting and transporting greywater. So think very carefully about how you're going to get your greywater from the house and into the garden. Don't overfill your buckets, bend your knees, get help to carry the buckets if you need to, or consider investing in a powered pump type system that will disperse the greywater for you without treating it. If you don't have time to monitor and treat your greywater yourself, you may consider investing in a greywater treatment system. It'll do all the hard work for you. Your first port of call, if you're looking at one of these, would be your local water authority, and they'll be able to give you a list of approved systems. And look, you may actually be eligible for a rebate as well, and we sustainable gardeners do love a good rebate. So that's it for now, folks. For more advice and information on domestic water recycling, why not contact your state's Environmental Protection Authority? And as always, have a look at our website at sgaonline.org.au.